you know, whether that's from other people or whether that's you replenishing yourself.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't replenishing myself, and things were just, it was constant. It was like I was in this constant space of everything was being taken. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then you're so empty that you no longer have anything left, that you just couldn't move. Like, there was just nothing left to give.
Every part of you.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are talking to you guys about the anxious attachment style. Yes, there's a whole series of videos that we're doing at the moment. And anxious attachment style simply means somebody who craves emotional connection and validation. They're unable to self-soothe and self-regulate, so they tend to use relationships and people within those scope to be able to regulate and to soothe. And whilst obviously we're talking about attachment styles, it is one of the 3 insecure attachment styles that was labeled by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, who are British psychologists who did great work around and experiment young children and their attachments to caregivers. Attachment style simply means the way that we attach emotionally in relationships. And an anxious one is one of the insecure attachment styles as well. I want to let you know about this anxious attachment style. And today's topic we're talking about is, this is why you are an over giver. Okay, there's nothing wrong with giving, but when you overgive to the point where you are literally sapped of all your energy, like Tia said in that video, which obviously I think partly also cost her marriage, then you are in a dangerous place. And we'll do that in part 2 about the dangers of being an overgiver. Today we're going to focus on why. Okay, there are 5 points we're going to chop up today, which is number 1, it makes you feel special. Number 2, sitting still doesn't give you value. Number 3, women tend to be conditioned to do this, which is a very special, I guess, point. Number 4, you don't know your actual needs. And number 5, you feel guilty when you actually are in a different position other than serving. And so we're going to talk about those 5 points a little bit later on. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. Let's get into this video and let's hopefully break down something that will help you be seen, understood, and heard at the same time. Let's get deeper. All right. So as we said, we're discussing the anxious attachment and it being an over and being an over giver. And if you've ever been in a position where you give, and you give until you have nothing left in the tank, and once you're depleted, the struggle to receive replenishment is either because you refuse to be able to accept it, or you don't know how to ask for it. And so your identity becomes lodged in giving, and giving. And you don't know how it feels to receive because you're consistently giving. And the validation comes from giving. And you feeling special comes from giving. And so you almost don't want to give it up to be in another role, because it's scary to be in any other role than a role where you earn your keep. Okay. All right. So the attachment style, which we're talking about, insecure attachment style, it craves validation and reassurance. And the fear of being rejected, abandoned, and betrayed leads a person to people please, which is what creates part of that overgiving. Okay, so inconsistent parents, okay, who are overbearing, maybe too strict, they're very, children, their boundaries get crossed a lot. Maybe you've got, you get harsh criticism as a child. Maybe a parent was neglectful in the way they dealt with you emotionally. You saw family discord or drama or breakups a lot. This can cause a child to develop this anxious attachment style, and that child will yearn for affection, attention, acknowledgement in their adult relationships. Okay, so let's get into these 5 points, because listening to Tia, she told us how she felt exasperated and tired at a point, and that's where you will be when you are consistent in a place of giving. So that's point number 1. Point number 1 is, it makes you feel special when you give, okay? The anxious person feels some type of speciality or a sense of USP, a unique selling point to them. They feel like they're different, they're valued different if they can be in a space of giving. Actually, there's nothing wrong with being in a space of giving. There's nothing wrong with serving people. There's nothing wrong with you actually helping people. But the reality situation is, when you help to a detriment, and you've heard me say this before, where you are willing to hold hot fire in your chest and let others be warm whilst you're burning inside, it makes no sense. You're being a detriment to yourself, and you're only going to last for so long. Another way to put it is that, are you willing to drown to let others float? That's what happens when people end up trying to serve so much, because it makes them feel special that they're being used at that point in time, right? But you don't realize you're being used, and that's the problem. Okay, all right, that's point number 1. Okay, to feel special, to feel different, to feel like you've got value almost. Number two is that sitting still doesn't bring value. The anxious person has learned that when they sit still to receive, it doesn't bring value. They never saw that in their childhood. They were never lauded for sitting still. They were in fact probably criticized. You were probably told you're not doing enough. You probably said the bar needs to be higher. You need to always be more perfect. And the bar was always being raised for you whenever you decided to rest. And so you couldn't rest. You weren't allowed to rest. When you decided to rest, they actually made it harder for you to be in that place of receiving. And so you learn very quickly as a child, no, don't rest. Keep moving. Keep moving, right? Keep moving. Parents who do this usually are very harsh in their criticisms, and they oftentimes push children into that space. Number three, which again is more related to women than it is to men, but men also have this too. But women are conditioned in our society to be in the servitude role. And so this can naturally present anxiety because there's often not only just them have to be in a servitude role, there's a standard that we put on their neck to say this is femininity, this is a woman, this is a wife, and they're consistently having to strive to be that standard, and that can feel so far away. And then there's a harsh criticism that comes in from society about, for instance, if you're a mum, oh, this is how you be a mum, this is how you be a mum, this is how you be a wife, this is how you be a wife. And this can actually drive somebody to be in a space where they can actually begin to develop anxiety simply because of the social norms, and the social norms applied in their childhood as what they find in their teenage years. And specifically, I'm talking about women specifically, because again, we have a lot of societal pressures that come based on what role and how they should play the role. Notice how we don't have the same necessarily. I mean, we do a little bit with terms of men in terms of financial, which is why you find that men become anxious in the area of what? Finances. Not in the area of servitude, in the area of finances, because that's where we apply the society standards and rules, and where we say this is where you need to be, right? It creates anxiety because, again, we're afraid of failing and not being good enough. And so we're trying to earn our keep in society and amongst people around us as well. Number four is, why don't you know your needs? And the funny thing is about this is sometimes people will be in a place of servitude because they don't know their needs. So they're so used to playing a role of serving you and serving others and serving family and serving this person and serving that person, that they struggle to be able to understand their own needs. And so because they struggle in that area of understanding, it's easier not to be confused than to do what you know. Sorry, it's easier to do what you know than to be confused. And so they will stay in a place of serving others and their needs, almost in a hope that their needs will be met through what they do. And so they will overgive in that area in the hopes that it'll be given back to them. But this ain't no salt and shaker machine where you just put something in, it comes back out. And I don't know what a salt and shaker machine is. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something you put in and get back out with people. You have to verbalize what you actually want. And sometimes people are afraid to explore what their needs are. Anxious people are afraid to explore their needs because then that would mean deviating from the path of what gave them value. Because that's not earning my keep at that point. At that point, I'm not earning the love. At that point, I'm not earning your trust. At that point, I'm not earning you. If I go and develop my needs, that is me now trying to change the game. I'm not in a space of earning, which is what the core wound of any anxious person is, that they want to earn love. They feel like they have to earn it. They think they have to fight for it. They think they have to compete for it because, in essence, their parent and their caregiver was inconsistent in the way that they cared for them emotionally. And so that child learns that if they do this, then you respond. If they do this, you'll respond. If they do this, you'll respond. And so they learn that, okay, I've got some power here. If I do something, you'll move. I must earn my keep. Number five is this. They feel guilty actually being in a place where they don't overgive. And the reason why is because they have poor boundaries when it comes to this. And usually this comes from a place of parents as well, enmeshing with their children, being far too buddy with their children, like almost making, you know what I mean? Like they interact with that child and overstep the child's boundaries, where they tell you too much information, or they involve you in the family business, which has got nothing to do with them at all, or you know what I mean, and they put you in a parentified position, which can also cause that anxiety. And so what ends up happening is that child can feel guilty when they decide they're not going to give too much, or they're going to hold back. They're like, oh, I can't do that, I must give, because they've been taught that if you don't give, then who are you? Right? In this family, you've heard it before, in this family, we do this. That can easily put the person under pressure and make them feel guilty about not doing, helping somebody out, or not sharing, or not giving to somebody, right? And that anxiety will kick in, and that guilt will kick in because of what they've learned in the home. So those are five different points. I want to really quickly just break this quickly down as well. There are big issues when it comes to the reason why overgiving is a problem. First and foremost, you're going to run out of steam. Number two, you're going to often fail to identify your own needs. Number three, people will use you and abuse you. Number four, you believe that you become integral because you are afraid of letting people down, right? If you don't give. Number five, sorry, or number six even, another fear is nobody will be able to function without you, right? So you're going to keep on giving. And number seven, I believe, is that you can function in the giver role so long that when you break away from that, you feel like you know that you're going to ruin relationships. Relationships are built upon the fact that you're a workhorse, and you know that friendship, that relationship, that lover, that parent, they will break down if you don't do the giving. And that's also what creates the guilt as well for people as well. All right. So those are 5 things as well. I hope you guys like that. I hope you feel seen. I hope you feel heard. And I hope you feel like this video has actually helped you as well. Type in the chat if it does help you as well. I want to let you guys know before I got off here as well that I want you guys to join the 100 Club. We have every month we're going to be doing like an offline, but online. It's going to be on Zoom where we just have conversations. We're going to chop out with breakout rooms, quizzes, games, as well. Just have some vibes outside of this place. I love you guys who come on live and stuff. But I really want to be able to foster some conversations with us, a place to have some after conversation. We can have some intellectual discourse and dialogue and a bit of fun as well. All right. So make sure you join us. The link's in the description below. If you are trying to join our coaching, there is a little bit of a wait. I do apologize. We're getting a bit busy now, 3 months in advance. So I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love.